Hello and welcome to our LinkedIn live show today. I'm Natalia Wiedemeier, a founder. Just a second.
There is some echo, I think.
I'm Natalia Wiedemeier, a founder of Gravy Teams, a management consulting for innovative, future-oriented teamwork and leadership. And today we are going to talk about business excellence. And we are having an amazing guest today with us, Mandarr Agshikar. And he is a business excellence professional, expert, coach, mentor, and certified assessor. And he has over 3 decades of experience in different areas of sales, marketing, relationship management, and obviously business excellence in all of those areas. He has been for 17 years now in the Middle East, in this region, so he knows the way business excellence works here. And he represents different business excellence associations in the Middle East, and he is member of many advisory boards and associations. For example, International Institute of Innovation Professionals, and a core group member of Global Society of Human Capital Management. Welcome, Mandarr. It's our pleasure to having you here today with us.
Thanks a lot, Natalia. It's always been a pleasure to meet with you and do all these discussions around excellence. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. So, Mandarr, what is business excellence? What it is all about, and what are the criteria? What are the measurements? How can we measure? How can we make sure that our business is excellent?
Okay, even before going to business excellence, we need to understand what is excellence. So let us try to define excellence. So one of the clinically, what you say, the definition of excellence as per European Foundation of Quality Management, EFQM, which is one of the known models here. They define excellence as, they define excellent organizations achieve and sustain outstanding levels of performance that meet or exceed the expectations of all the stakeholders. So that is the definition of excellence. I would define business excellence from my perspective. It's basically nothing but a journey of continual improvement during which organizations keep doing self-assessment and gap analysis, of course, and which help them in identifying the area for improvements and which they then convert into strengths to achieve sustainability. So for me, it's like an ongoing SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat process. Typically, business excellence has two areas. One is the enablers, one is the results. Enablers is what the organization does, how it does it, and the results, of course, is what do they achieve. Results are caused by enablers, and of course, enablers are improved the feedback from the results. So that's the framework, and then you have the pillars of excellence. So you are asking about the criterias, or you're asking about the drivers of excellence. So I have probably identified them into 7 slots. The first one being leadership. Leadership, of course, they decide the mission, vision, values, how they deal with the stakeholders, the policies, the strategies. The second one, of course, is the strategy, which in terms of how management agility is done, how the change management is done. Third is the people. Probably people you definitely, that's the main pillar of excellence, in which you talk about training of people, the knowledge management. How do you go about empowering your people, which is most important. Then you have partnership and resources, which again is required to manage effectively for the sustainability of any organization. Then you have processes, product and services being the fifth one. Then you have the customers, without which any organization would not be alive without the customers. They're the most important part of, most important pillar of the excellence. And then, of course, we have the results, in which you have perceptions, in which you do a lot of surveys to understand what others are thinking about you. And then you have the performance indicators, which actually is concerned with the measurement of whatever you have taken into from the surveys. So as per me, this is what constitutes the business excellence within any organization.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a
So,
lot. It's a big
so
gamut if you go inside it.
as a business excellence professional and consultant, you're also in consulting, right? So, what would be, like if you are having a consulting project, where do you start? Do you have like a certain framework how you start, or
Okay, what we normally do in terms of I'm actually privileged to be on both the sides, at the consultant side as well as the assessor side. So when it comes to consultant side, we normally uh, act like, as doctors, you know. So when we go to any organization, we try to it starts with basically a self-assessment of any organization. So it's like the prognosis and the diagnosis. So you go and see what they have in there. You do like a self mock assessment there. Then you identify the gaps. Then of course the gaps you come to know what you make up like a feedback report, which is been given to the organization, which helps them see which are the areas they are lacking, and finally they go into converting that into the strength. The whole objective of business excellence is trying to identify your areas for improvement and then converting them into strength. So that is what we do.
amazing? But that's great. But why is it like how, I'm trying to understand all these measures that you were saying. So it's processes, it's the results, it's the performance indicators, it's the excellence in our performance. Doesn't it require like a very, planned solid concepts? And why I'm asking that, because I would like to understand how this business excellence sounds a little bit like perfection to me. I hope maybe I have a different perception or wrong perception on it, so maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that. How business excellence, is it achievable, is it desirable in today's very fastly moving world and a very dynamic world?
See, I would not say it is perfection. I would always that if you saw how I defined excellence was, it was a journey of continual improvement. Now, continual improvement is a variable term. It keeps you going. You know, it's not that it has a like our great leader has said. Sheikh Mohammed has said that the journey of excellence does not have a finish line, which he has clearly summed up this whole thing. So it's not about the destination; it's about the journey, which is important. So we had never imagined to be in these challenging pandemic times. And like I think you had your last session with Nada, in which you spoke about resilience. It's all about that. So you're trying to use your creativity, your innovation, and trying to build it into business excellence, and trying to find new ways of doing business, and finally trying to get it there. Ultimately, it is all about making the organization sustainable. See, all these definitions of business excellence, continual improvement, the end result is towards sustainability. If it is not there, then the organization will not sustain, and then we are not required to be here. So even if it's in terms of a consultant or in terms of a assessor, our whole objective is trying to give the client or the organization to whom we are assessing, trying to give them a very value-added feedback report. You know, because the next time they come to the cycle, they have to work on the action taken. They need to do the action taken. They need to take actions rather on the AFIs and try to convert them into strengths. So it's all about that. So to answer your question in a nutshell, yeah, it's not perfection, but it is going towards perfection. So I would say trying to do something better every day and trying to be sustainable every day is what we are looking at here.
So if I understand that correctly, there is no the finish line to business excellence. So we are always thriving for more excellence, more perfection. Can we
Correct.
still call us an excellent organization? What would be, like if there is no such thing as achievable finish line, then at the end we will go later in detail. But which point, like, would we say, okay, is it 70, 80%, or is that the perfect imperfection that is excellent in
See,
itself?
See, again, the scoring is here is very relative. So if we talk about the assessment, what we do, and we try to, we have a radar approach, you know, where we have, I think we had discussed this last time when we had met. It talks about radar is RADAR. So you start with defining your results, then you see the approaches, whether it is sound, whether it is integrated. When we say sound, it has to have a clear rationale. Whether it is integrated, it has to be integrated with the strategy. You know, then we talk about deployment, whether whether it is structured, whether it is implemented, and finally the assessment and refinement, which is most crucial. So in assessment and refinement, we talk about measurements. We measure whatever you have deployed, then you do improvements, and then you see if there have been any learnings, right? So all these things when you put together, so you're trying to see that you're from one side of the corner, you're going to the other side. So actually you're moving the path of excellence. So when you talk about scoring here, so it's not, you mentioned about 60, 70, 80%. I would not say that way. What we do is when we actually do the scoring, we have a certain score in terms of this radar. So we have maybe unable to demonstrate. So whatever, I mean, when they give the application submissions, whether they can demonstrate, they cannot demonstrate. Sometimes the score is very poor, which is unable to demonstrate. Then you have a limited ability to demonstrate. Again, there is a score range. I don't want to get into that. Otherwise, we'll have this session going on for hours together. And then you have able to demonstrate, and then you have fully able to demonstrate, and then you have excellent, like you said, role models. Now, those are really benchmarking companies, the Fortune 500 or the Fortune 300 or the Fortune 100 companies, those kinds. So the idea here of business excellence is trying to be better than what you are yesterday and trying to go in that ladder where at some point of time, you may not be the best, but you will definitely be better than what you were yesterday. That's the idea of business excellence.
Very interesting point. You were talking about benchmarks, and you were talking about Fortune 100, Fortune 200, Fortune 500. So is that, I mean, many organizations, they are small, so they don't make it on those lists. Does it depend on the size of the organization, business excellence, or does it, how does the size and the business excellence compare? Is it easier to become get higher score on business excellence if you make it to the index? Is it a criteria?
Very, very nice question. Now, you are correct. You cannot compare an apple with a watermelon, is what you're trying to say. So, no, we always compare apple with apple. As I said, for example, I was talking about the EFQM model, the European Foundation for Quality Management. That is one of the model which has been used for most of the assessment criteria in the Middle East. Of course, there are other models as well, but EFQM is a very popular model. I think many people who are right now listening to us would have understood what I'm trying to say. So in the AFQM model, we have a very clear very clear definitions of everything, right? So it cannot be that when you say you're talking about measuring, assessing any companies. First of all, it's not an audit, so we don't have a checklist where we go and we just try to see. It's not an ISO audit where you go and check and say this is not there, so you're not certified. No. So here, each and every organization, whether it's a very small organization, SME, or it's one of the, as I said, Fortune 100 or maybe the top 5 companies in the UAE, they will be assessed on the same 32 criteria, also same 9 criteria. Sorry, 32 criterion parts, 9 criteria, which is what on EFQM is based. EFQM has 9 criteria, 5 enablers and 4 results. So every company, whether it's a very small company, and when I say small, it's a small SME, probably a small a manufacturing company or a trading company, or it's a very big company which has 20 branches or 30 branches, semi multinational company. So all of them, they are actually assessed on the same model. So we very clearly see that and then the scoring is done. So yeah, you can say that at some point, maybe a bigger company may get a bigger score. The smaller companies, every award in this region, we're talking about Dubai Quality Award, Sheikh Khalifa Excellence Award. There are many awards, Shah Jasin Awards, each Emirates has its own award. They have different levels. So when you enter the award, the first stage, it's not directly you going for the gold category or the silver or diamond category. So you go in appreciation category, then slowly you rise. So even the award offices are very tuned to the fact that it's more of an encouraging thing. For example, in this particular times that we had in pandemic, we didn't have a lot of submissions. There were people who were having a challenges to live their life, and applying for the award was something which was very the last thing on their mind. But still, yeah, we had people who applied for the award. They may not have been the best of submissions, but yes, they were there, and we also gave them an encouraging hand to take them further. If I have answered your question.
Yes, it does answer my question. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if you are following the comments, but you're getting great feedback, so that the information that you're giving is very relevant, very valuable, and great interaction. So thank you guys in the chat and for watching us. You're welcome to post your questions, and we will address them here in the live session as well. So we are having companies are closing in this time of pandemic. This is the question from Sayed Asfar Al Ali. Companies are closing in this time of pandemic. How they grow in the future business excellence or excellence in business? Please, any suggestions?
See, this would require another session, but what I would try to say that to right now to be sustainable or to continue in the line of business you are in, if you are not able to do some kind of value addition to what you have been doing yesterday, yeah, you're going to be getting. I mean, you would get lost in this business. So you have to do something different. When we talk about even awards, as I had mentioned earlier. There were not many people who were applying for the award. So I asked a couple of them, why did you apply for the award? So they said that doing this thing, it was like diagnosing our own thing, trying to do introspection, so trying to see what we are doing, what we can do correctly, what we want to do, where we want to be in the near future. And more than anything, more than above is that basically they would like to sustain their business and be there for the next 10 years. So if I answered your question, you have to find maybe different markets, different ways of working, different processes. You change your strategies. So as I said, this may require another probably 1 hour session just to address that point. But if I want to answer it, I would say definitely you would like to do more value addition than what you were doing yesterday uh, to try to be there and continue being there.
Sure, great. So you're obviously inviting people to apply for the awards, but what are the awards? What are they important for? Why is it a good thing to apply for the award? I mean, you have to do a certain application. I don't know how large the application is. You guys are not doing audit, but still there are many things that have to go through a certain assessment. So why is it? What is the importance of business excellence awards? What does
See,
it
first
add to your business or to your branding, or what is the added value of that word?
See, first and foremost, what I advise, since I am a consultant as well, and people ask me why a business excellence award. Now, people mistake award for a trophy. So I always tell the people whom I work with, if you want to go in for a trophy, you can go to a shop and buy it. You can go to day to days, you get lot of trophies, maybe for 100 dirhams, you get two trophies, big trophies. But this is not the trophy we're talking about. This we're talking about is the award. And when you say the award, this is a criteria based award. And today, in this cutthroat competition, see, today businesses are being shut, businesses are being acquired. It's not a good time. So the one thing which we can set apart ourselves is doing something different. So what I would say, doing something. Imagine me applying for a tender. For example, I work very closely with MEP, and if you are applying for a tender in MEP, and you are saying that you have the Taqdeer award, you have two, three awards already won, and you are displaying that thing. So that gives confidence to your customer that, hey, I mean, in this troubled time, this guy has really done something. And I mean, the government's officials have actually, the government has awarded him with the awards. But these are not like private awards you're talking about, right? So I mean, there are certain criteria to be fulfilled. So that gives added confidence. And typically, if you see what is the award process, is that they have to do a submission. The first one is like a written submission. They have to attend workshops. Now these are different award offices in different emirates. So, but the modus of operandi is the same. So you need to first do a submission, then you have workshops to attend, because not many people are good writers, so they need to write a good submission. And then you have the workshops, then you give them do a self-assessment, where you either you go with a consultant or you do it yourself. Then you submit your submission, then they will approve. Once they approve it, then actually you will do the actual submission. Then you'll have an assessment in which assessors will come here as teams, do the site visits, the preliminary site visits, the final site visits. They will do a lot of interviews with your all your management at different levels and try to understand. Then they will go back together. They will try to do a scoring, and based on the scoring, they will write a feedback report in which you will have strengths and AFIs identified for your particular submission. Because ultimately, it's not the submission they are assessing; they are assessing you as an organization. That's the thing which is taught to us as assessors. And then the next step would be there is a jury meeting where you have to defend, the assessors have to defend their scores. Maybe you felt that this client, like you said, the role model. I felt Gravy Teams is having a role model kind of a thing. So I give them a full score. But then I need to defend why. Why do you feel this company requires this kind of score? And then once that is done, then if there is any changes, the jury advises us to do the changes, and then finally we go in for the award ceremony, and that is how it is concluded. Now, one interesting thing I would like to share with you is that I had done an assessment many years back, and I was doing the interview with the top, because in the assessment you need to do a top management interview, the middle management, and the people at the grassroots level. So the top management interview was very interesting. He was one of his excellencies, and after the assessment finished and all, his secretary was after me for the feedback report. So so one day I happened to meet him someplace, and I said, why are you after that feedback report? So he said that for me, I am not interested in the trophy. I'm interested in the feedback report. So imagine that, because we go in teams, assessment team has 7 or 8 people from different backgrounds, different way of looking, different education qualifications. So he said, imagine where on earth will I get a report which is made by such diverse individuals, and which will be very value added for me. So for me, that report is more important than the trophy, and that has stayed with me for a long time. So as I said, that is my idea of excellent business excellence leader.
Is there a monetary remuneration for the most excellent organization? So
For the
any
most,
financial benefit of winning an award, or
they
is
get the trophy. They get the trophy, and because these are all government awards, so they getting a trophy itself is a very big thing. Okay, and at some places it's like it's basically there are silver, gold, diamond, different categories in different awards. But more than that is the accolades that follow. So I would say that. As I said, bidding for tenders, all these things, this definitely helps. Even the picture of the trophy with the senior manager having it in the history and background of the company as a profile, it makes a lot of difference. So it's not during the award ceremony they give any what to say, incentive or cash incentive or fringe benefits. No, but yeah, indirectly there are a lot of benefits they have, and it helps them which is why the awards are becoming so popular. They have been. I have seen people who apply, because normally when they apply in a category for the next year they can't apply, so they need to do the logic is they need to work on the AFIs, then come back stronger the following year. So every award, maybe silver, gold, and it has different waiting periods, so 3 or 4 years. So which is why they come back with better strengths, and worked on the AFIs and all that. So and then this helps them indirectly. So I would say yes, there is an indirect benefit, if not direct.
very nice, very nice. There's the subtitles on the live show. So if you guys are listening to subtitles, be aware that they are live and they are interpreted upon the software acoustically from our what we are talking about. So the applicants are not getting the coffee, but they're getting a trophy. Okay, so a little bit
Oh,
more
that's
than the
good.
coffee. That's what they
Correct,
really
correct.
get. So thanks for that.
They also
Um,
get a coffee during the award ceremony, plus
they
they get
also
a
getting
trophy.
coffees, and maybe even some cookies to go with them.
Correct.
But we have a question here. So Madhu Smita Nayak is
Oh,
asking what is the importance of business excellence in getting the culture change? I mean, we are right now in very volatile and disruptive world, and that any industry or any company needs to watch out of being disrupted from the outside. It needs to reinvent itself. It needs to be innovative. And there is this question of a culture. So how does business excellence and culture go along? What would be?
See, business excellence and culture will go. I mean, if you see, if you have to have business excellence as a successful, I mean, if you want to see the success of business excellence, it has to be embedded as a culture within the organization, and it is the most important responsibility of a leader. Now, we talk a lot about creativity, and we talk about innovation. So, creativity sometimes we say that it is. What you conceive, what you have creative ideas, what is considered ideas. Innovation, you say you implement those ideas. So all this comes under business excellence. So I would say that if you need to really succeed with business excellence, you will have to put it as a culture. And at the moment, things are tough. So I believe that if you get into, see, there are people, even for example, in business excellence department, we interact with lot of companies, and they come up with the projects, but ultimately the projects are not seeing the light of the day. Because of many things. So it could be financial constraints or anything else. But if you are doing business excellence continuously, that gives the person who is doing it. For example, now Madhu is a part of excellence team. I'm sure she has a tough time every day trying to sell excellence within her organization. But if the leaders take it as the responsibility to inculcate the culture of excellence, then it makes life much more easier. So I would say that business excellence and culture, business excellence has to become the culture within the organization for them to be able to try to see better things and try to move forward, and ultimately I'll again come back to be sustainable in the business and in life. Hope
Right.
Madhu, I answered your question.
I hope so too. I think so. That was a very elaborative answer. And so, if we stay with this area, so how do we transform culture? Who is the one responsible? You were saying about business excellence departments. If you don't
Correct.
have it, is it on the leader? And if it is, what qualities or what would be like? What is the role of leadership in achieving business excellence and the culture oriented towards business excellence?
See, I would give you a live example for this because uh, basically quality is more popular than business excellence. Okay, you have a lot of companies going with the ISOs and the Lean Six Sigmas and all that, and that comes under quality. But business excellence, from a time I have been there for last about a decade now, I always had, like you, for this example, we are doing this 30-minute session on business excellence. I always had this sometimes a challenge to explaining what is business excellence. So yes, it is a different I will say elephant to look at, but I'll give you a typical example. Like I am working, I'm mentoring one of the very good companies in the Middle East, and their leader is very focused. So when I met him first, he said that again he said, I don't want trophies. I would like to go in on the path of business excellence. Will you help me to be there? And I said, okay. So what do you have inside your organization? So they don't have anything. They just have a quality department, and they didn't have any business excellence department. So when we thought about going for an award, this particular leader, he has formed the departments. He has made the KPIs. He has identified key people. He actually made the full department. So the award is one thing, but the award actually thinking of applying for the award has changed the mindset of the company, and they are talking about going digital in a big way, and they are talking about having each person's role defined. So when I spoke to him about the different criterias, the next meeting I had with him, he had different stakeholders identified for those particular criteria, which was very impressive. So I think this would be the right way. I mean, I would congratulate that. Of course, I can't name him here. He is one of the audience, I believe, but I would really appreciate, and I think that's the right way of going. Trying to make that into a department, and then give the KPIs to a department, and ultimately see that the individual goals of the department is merged with the organization goals, and then go ahead. So, as I said, and just to answering the Madhu again, business excellence, it has to be bought out by each and every person in the company. It cannot be a one person or one. If the leader says, "Okay, I want to become business excellent," it doesn't happen that way. It has to be like the Maslow effect. It has to rise from the top, and it's a pyramid effect. So it go down to the bottom, and everybody should be speaking business excellence. If you talk about your blood group, it has to be B positive. So when you say B positive, it should be business excellence. That way.
Very nice comment. And if you guys have any more questions, business excellence is more effective. Ujwal Tyagi says business excellence is more effective in creative culture environment, professional organization environment within the organization.
Very true.
I would say it does not necessarily go hand in hand, and I think this is exactly the challenge in today's world, because many organizations, the lifespan of organizations, or the lifespan of reaching the power of performance is a bit different than it used to be 10 or 20 years ago. We are talking about the benchmark organizations of Fortune 100, 500, and what we are seeing today, that the time to reach Fortune 500, the time to reach that size, like to get the market capitalization of a large cap of 1 billion, takes a lot shorter than it used to be. And this question of business excellence, the classical business excellence, it's one very important. So I'm really glad that we are having these insights. What we also have to think about, how we rethink and how we adapt business excellence on itself to be agile, adaptive, and to not looking at the audit part of the equation, but on the creativity part of the equation. Creativity is not perfect. Creativity is by far not perfect. And when we are talking about agile, innovative, flexible cultures who are learning from mistakes, obviously the emphasis is a bit different on learning opportunities rather than on being perfect in one or the other process or organization, like the way the organization is doing business. So I think this is the new traits of leadership, that what we are saying. I'm not sure whether it's already, or how, but I am sure that also the industry of business excellence and business excellence awards is looking forward to this transformation, that we are talking about not only excellence in the process or excellence in the workflow, but we are talking about excellence of the vision transmission. We are talking about excellence of how we engage people. We are talking about excellence of the culture of continuous learning. We are talking about excellence of utilizing business opportunities, and we probably are also talking about excellence of being not perfect, of being perfectly capable to learn, to function, to advance, and to deliver value while being excellent but less than perfect. So that's it. I don't know. Our time is up. Unfortunately, This is a very interesting discussion. So you guys, if you want to engage more and if you have more questions, you're welcome to post it to the comments, and we will continuously update them. And thank you guys for being with us. Thank you, Mandarr, so much for your very deep and very interesting, very profound insights. If you have closing comment, go ahead.
I would just reiterate what a great leader has said. What I mentioned earlier, that the journey of excellence does not have a finish line. So, guys, if you're not started, start now. And it's a wonderful journey. And this does not only apply to organizations. You can apply it to your own personal lives as well. Try to see enablers and try to achieve your results. Fine-tuning enablers and get better results. And of course, it's not destination, but it's a journey which is very important. So be on the journey. If you have any queries, you have both our email IDs, which Natalia will be sharing us with you, and we will shortly be again coming up with another session, probably a series of sessions, and we look forward to the excellent participation we had today. I really appreciate. So thanks from me as well for having the time to attend this mid-afternoon show, I would say. Thanks, Natalia, for having me. It's always a pleasure to interact with you. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, everyone, and watch out for more. We will be back soon. Thank you.